Hello everyone, you're all welcome to my YouTube channel. So if you're a subscriber of my YouTube channel, you are highly welcome. Thank you all for subscribing to my YouTube channel. So if you are seeing my video for the very first time, please go and subscribe to my channel and make sure you hit the notification bell so as to get updated whenever I post or upload new videos, right? So in my previous video, I taught us how to cut a basic long pencil skirt. That was what I taught us in our previous class. So if you know you haven't seen that video, kindly go through my videos and locate that particular one. So it's the last the one of the recent videos I posted. So in today's class, I want to teach us how to draft a basic top pattern, like a basic upper bodice, how to draft it accurately, the front block and the back block. So I need you all to concentrate into this class. So for the beginners, this class is actually very important for you because you will be learning how to draft the basic bodies. You guys will agree with me that the basic bodies is actually the foundation of any kind of dress you want to make, name it. If you don't get the foundation right, then whatever it is that you want to create, it won't go down well. Like if the foundation of a building is not right, the building won't even stay, it will collapse. So the foundation is actually very important that we learn it well, right? So today we are going to learn a well detailed way of drafting a basic front bodies and back bodies. Let's just say the half length, the front block and the back block. So guys, please stay tuned and walk through the class with me. Thank you. I love you all. Let's go there. So guys, we'll be starting our class now. And so you'll be needing your pencil, your measuring tape, your ruler, your armhole curve, and of course your eraser for this particular class. And so we are going to get started. Now you need to know your parameters. The parameters are the measurements you've taken for whatever dress you want to make. And right now the class we are having is how to cut a basic half length, the front block and the back block. Now the measurements we have are the half length is 16, that is your waistline. The bust point is 9.5, that is from your shoulder to your nipple point. Then the under bust here is 13, the shoulder is 16, my bust span is 7, the bust is 34, and the waist is 28. If I missed any measurements, then while teaching you, we'll see to that. Let's get started. So the first thing you want to do is to put down all the measurement lines that are needed for your dress. Now, the first thing I want to rule now is the full length. And for the purpose of this class, our full length is the waistline, which is 16. So I'm going to be marking 16 across this pattern paper. And please, have it at the back of your mind that when you are cutting on your fabric, it has to be on fold. Now, this is a class and I'm using a pattern paper. That's why it's not on fold. But if you are using a fabric, it has to be on fold. So when you open it, it will become a full face for you. So now I've marked the half length and I'm going to connect the points together. Now, having marked my half length, which is 16, please, if this video is not clear enough, you can just indicate in the comment section so I will note that when making the next class. So this is our half length line. Let me draw it very well. Yeah, it's darker now so you can see it. So that's our half length. So the next thing I'm going to rule now is the bust point line. The bust point line. That is our shoulder to our nipple. And mine, what I'm using for this class is 9.5. So I'm going to mark 9.5 across the paper. So this is me marking 9.5. And so after marking it, I'm just going to connect it together. So that's that. Now there's something I want to note. Since what we are doing is just a basic half length pattern, a basic one, that means that we are not going to be padding this particular outfit we want to draft, because a basic, just like most English dresses that are not padded, all these simple ones, so you don't really need to pad it for those ones. Okay, that's the class I'm doing now. Those ones are not being padded, and because it's not padded, I will not be needing the under bust line. Sorry, that will not be part of the parameters. So what we are going to rule now is just the bust point line and the waistline. So, and after that, now I'm going to go over to mark my shoulder. So this is our waistline. This is our bust point line, and this is our waistline. Now what we are going to do is to take the measurements for the shoulder, and my shoulder is 16. Now 16 divided by 2, because like I told you, if this is a fabric, you are going to fold your fabric, but this is a paper, so it's single. We are dividing by 2 because we assume that whatever we are cutting is on fold. So 16 divided by 2 is 8. Now I'm going to add ½ inch right away, but you can decide not to add ½ inch until you have finished drafting, and when you want to cut on your main fabric, you will now add the ½ inch. But let's just add the ½ inch here, since I'm teaching you on a pattern paper. Now after that, what you're going to do is to divide your bust by 6. You have to divide your bust by 6 so you can determine what your armhole measurement is going to do, what is going to be. So the formula for getting your armhole measurement is your bust, round bust, divided by 6 plus 1.5. Now my round bust is 34. Now when you divide 34 by 6 and you add 1.5, what you're going to have is 7.2 from my own calculation. Your own may be different because your bust measurement is different from mine, or may be different from mine. So when I divide my own by 6 and I add 1.5, what I'm gonna have is 7.2. Now sometimes this 7.2 may just be too tight for me on the armhole. So what I do is that I normally add quarter an inch to whatever measurements I have. Now instead of 7.2, I'm going to mark 7.5, so that there will be a little ease there, so it won't be too tight. Now when I've marked, I came down from the point of my shoulder measurement, I came down to mark down my armhole measurement, which is 7.5. Now across it, you will be sure, you have to make sure that it is exactly on the shoulder measurement, which is 8.5. Remember, we added half to it, so exactly on that 8.5 is where you now measure your armhole measurement, which is 7.5. So what I'm saying in essence is that your 7.5 armhole should be in line with your measurement for the shoulder. So when you check across, it should be the same 8.5 for your shoulder, and when you check vertically, it should give you 7.5. Do you understand? Horizontal measurement should be 8.5, which is your shoulder measurement plus ½ inch. Now the vertical measurement, which is your armhole, should be 7.5 after your calculation. Now I'm going to connect it straight down. So this is how to form your armhole block before you now form the curve. Now I'm going to shift a little and still mark and still put out the measurement for my armhole, which is 7.5. Now I'm going to connect it. As you can see, I have formed my armhole block. Can you see that? Now the next thing I'm going to do is to determine the neckline I'm going to use for this particular pattern. So basically normal standard is 4x4. Let me just do 4. That is not that is subject to what your client wants, or is subject to change depending on what your client wants or what you want to achieve on your outfit. I'm just saying normal standard for classes, people normally use for my class I use 4x4. Okay, so I'm going to use 4x4 here just to teach you. But if you want to make your own dress, you can decide to use 3.5 by 3.5, depending on what you want to achieve, like I said. So I'll just do 4x4 here. 4x4 as my neck width, and 4 as my neck width, and 4 again as my neck depth. This is just an example. You can do otherwise depending on what you want to achieve. Now I'm going to get my armhole curve to connect it, right? So you just place it nicely and you connect it together like so. So your neckline has already been formed. Now on your armhole block, look at the way I'm doing it. So you come down by 1 inch for your shoulder slope. Haven't done that now. You connect it straight to the end of your neck width. Please, if you don't understand, just see me as I draft. Just watch me as I draft rather. Oh, so sorry, this paper is tearing. So you just connect it to the end of the neck width like so. Hope you can see this clearly. Now, having done this, the next thing you should do is to form your armhole curve. So what you're going to do is to divide what you have. Haven't come down by 1, you divide it by 2. Now after coming down by 1, what I have is 6.5. Now 6.5 divided by 2 will give me 3.2. So I'll just mark it, go in by quarter, 3/4 rather, for the front block. Then I'll connect it to that 3/4. So once I've connected, please connect it nicely. After connecting it, then you bring your curve, and from the point where you connected to that 3/4, you just draw a very beautiful curve to put it together. So this is my armhole curve. Hope you can see it clearly. Now, having done this, the next thing you want to do is to impute your bust span measurement. Now my bust span measurement is my nipple to nipple divided by 2. My nipple to nipple is 7. 7 divided by 2 will give me 3.5. So I'm going to mark 3.5 across, and I'm going to connect it like so. So now, having connected it, I'll go to my waistline. What you're going to take, you can either take half on both sides, or you can do 3/4 on both sides. So whichever one works. But since it's the front panel, I'm going to do 3/4 instead of half on both sides. But whatever you are taking, make sure you replace the measurement so you won't have shortage. So you connect it straight to your bust point. Can you see that? So that is that. Now you are going to take your measurements. On your bust line, you do your round bust divided by 4. Now my round bust divided by 4 is 8.5. Yes, 34 divided by 4, it should be 8.5. Now you are going to add your sewing allowance. Now the sewing allowance I'm going to add here is just 1.5. Now you go over to your waistline, you take your waist measurement. My waist divided by 4, which is 28, is 7. So I'm just going to mark 7. and having marked 7, I'll come down here and measure the dart that I took out on the waistline for the front block. And what I have here is 1.5, so I'm going to replace that 1.5 before I add my sewing allowance, which is 1.5. Can you see what I'm doing? So having taken my measurement, I'm going to connect it. So after connecting now, I need to go and take the dart for the bust. Now for me to take the dart for the bust, I'm going to come down on the bust point line by 2. And when I come down, I'll come out on this bust point by 1/2 inch. And when I come out by 1/2 inch, what I'm going to do on this line, what I'm going to do now is to connect from that 2 that I came down by to the bust, to that half that I came in by on the on the bust point. So I'm going to take 1/2 inch on both sides here. Please follow me through this class carefully so you will understand. Sometimes when we speak too much of grammar, we may not really, we might miss some points. So just follow what I'm doing. So this is it now. So this is how to draft your basic bodies without any padding. This is just the basic way to do it neatly. Then when you want to cut out on your fabric, you have to add 1/2 inch on the waistline. You have to add, okay, you don't need to add anything here because you've already added your allowance. Then on your armhole, you add 1/2, but I don't need to add 1/2 again because I've added 1/2 to my shoulder line. So on your neckline too, you add 1/2 to it before cutting out, and also on your shoulder you add 1/2 too, right? So we are done with the front block. So this is how to cut a basic front block. Going over to the back now, what we are going to do now, let's go over to the back block.